All right, what is going on? How is everyone doing out there today? Day after Christmas, December 26, 2021. And lo and behold, finally, the Atlanta Falcons come up with a win at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the city of Atlanta. No longer can we come with the win in London as the only home win. Finally got one done on her own turf. It was not easy, as none of the wins have been this year. Struggle with a struggling team, the Detroit Lions. But look, as I titled in the program, uh, that's just how it's going to be right now while we're going through, I don't care what you want to call it, transitioning, rebuilding, restocking. I don't know. But whatever it is, it's not comfortable. But being a Falcon fan, always great to get the W at home. Surprisingly, I know I sent the video out a little earlier with the early returns at the Dome, but really by the time I got to halftime, it kind of filled up a little bit. I don't want to go crazy, but it filled up better than it had the last few weeks, the last couple of games, that is. So give it a lot of credit. Still a lot of Detroit Lions in the house. I didn't even realize Detroit had that much of a following. I know they're an old NFL team. Don't get me wrong. I know they have a lot of history. But I think I've been at the Dome for a Detroit game. I just don't remember them traveling that well. But those folks actually showed up today, so give them credit. They were in the house and therefore to see their team get beat, albeit that second string quarterback. I'm gonna tell you what, Tim Boyle. You say what you want to say about him. He had a really good game until that very last pass. That very last pass was the one thing that did him in. At the end, Foye Oluokun, who I'm wearing his jersey today, on here, just a little small tribute to him. He had a great game today. A lot of tackles, of course, came up with the big interception. He did miss that one tackle near the end where they were driving, but more than made up for it with the catch. So happy to at least see us get in the win column. Yes, it's 7-8, folks, but I'll tell you what, and I know this is probably not going to be a popular take, but it's my take, so you make your own take. Arthur Smith, this is his first season with the Atlanta Falcons, first season as a professional head coach. I know it's so easy in that first year to make some very damning statements about him and the job he's done and mistakes he's made and things he's said and all of this. But to go 7-8 with this roster we have right here, and really some of the play all across the board, mediocre to horrible at times. To be 7-8, I don't care. The argument about who you beat, I could care less, because truly there are about 14 teams that are either 8-7 or 7-8. So I don't want to hear the junk about who you beat. We won the games. Am I here to claim that we are in playoff mode and ready to challenge and things like that? Of course not. That would be foolish. But I am here to say, given what he's had, given the roster he has, given the situations he's had to deal with one situation leaving with Julio Jones, one situation in-house with Calvin Ridley, just the non-productive year we've got out of our really only major free agent signing in Mike Davis. He's patchworked together a pretty C- year so far. And that's with limited talent. So I know it's going to be popular for people to bash him and things like that. I'm going to go the other way on that. Now, whoever told him to call that timeout in the last 40 seconds when Detroit was driving and only had one timeout left, yeah, we'll work with him on that and get him to make better calls in the future. But at the same time, give him a credit. Hey, listen, 7 wins your first year. Nobody was saying that about the Chargers last year when I think they won 6 last year, and then they did their thing. Now, granted, they have Justin Herbert, different situation, but Falcons win. That's all that matters. 20-16. Let's go over here to some of the comments and see what we have going on here. Lisa, how you doing, Lisa? Lisa says, finally a home win. Long time coming. Yes, ma'am. Shout out to Foye Aluakon for saving the day. Absolutely. As I was sitting in that seat, and as I'm sure you were sitting out there, Lisa, we were saying from that old 90s song by Portrait, here we go again. And just great to see the resolve of the defense just to bow up one more time and just do it. Yes, it was the Detroit Lions, but you know what? Had we lost the game, the same folks would be all over us for not beating the Lions. So we'll discuss how bad that was later on. But right now, you know what? I'm going to enjoy the win. Lisa also says the Lions fans in my section flew in just for the game. But it was surprising. I saw a lot of baby blue out there. And, sometimes you have to wonder whether a lot of people are transplants and just want to wear the jerseys or not. But a lot of Detroit folks out there. Give them a lot of credit. Twan says Boyle did have a good game, but it's also the Falcon defense. But yes, we need to keep Foye. Yeah, I've banged the drum. If anybody's been listening to me for the last couple of years, I've banged the drum for Foye for a long time. That he is somebody, when you start talking about the future of this franchise, that's somebody that you really need to keep. Brother Macario, how you doing, sir? Merry Christmas to everybody. I didn't start off with that. I hope everyone had a great Christmas this year. And look, this COVID thing is sweeping through again, through everywhere and close by, and just everybody stay safe. No political statements, no what you should do, what you shouldn't do. But I will say stay safe, because at the end of the day, you should try to stay safe with this thing. Macario says, what up, brother? I pray y'all had a blessed Christmas. I'm glad for the dub, but them last 2 minutes scared me. Hey, listen, I was sitting up there just preparing for the worst, brother. Preparing for the worst. So when Foye caught that ball, and again, Boyle had a great game, and really great for somebody who came in not really knowing last week that he would be playing, but somebody who came in, stuck to the game plan, and did a pretty good job until that last pass. It was the worst pass of the day. Great timing by him for the Falcons, at least from that. Corey says, give me an offensive line, new quarterbacks, and some dogs on defense. It seems like we ask for that same thing every year, Corey. I hope we get it. Brother PJ, how you doing, brother? Rise up to you, and Merry Christmas to you, my friend. Glad to hear you out there in the house. I know you're excited about this win we had today. And happy Merry Christmas to you, RJ. Good to see you joining us in here. Ray, what's going on, Ray? Ray said, I'll take the win. Ray, Merry Christmas to you, brother. I hope everything's going well for you overseas there, brother. Glad to hear you coming in. Benjamin, how you doing, sir? Benjamin says, nice to beat the majority of teams we should beat and lose to teams with deeper talent. This speaks well for the coaching staff. If a new administration can evaluate talent, the future is looking bright. That's a very astute statement. I'm going to tell you, you're pretty much on point. The teams we were supposed to beat, sans 1 or 2 games, because I think the first Carolina game, that was and really, you think about it, the Washington and the Philadelphia game, those are the games that you go back and wish you could go back and do again. Philadelphia pretty much beat us soundly, so I can't really go back and say much about that. But boy, that Washington game sticks right here because we had opportunity in that Washington game to win. But you're right. For the most part, beat the teams we're supposed to beat. We had, according to most, we had one of the easier schedules in the NFL. But again, that speaks to the talent that we have. So good job, Benjamin. Yeah, we got to go back, reevaluate, get some new guys in here, get some new talent. That's it. Excuse me. PJ says, hopefully this is the start of the state of Georgia going 2-0 versus the state of Michigan. Boy, oh boy. Next week. I'm so worried about that game Friday against the Wolverines. I shouldn't be because I truly think maybe that loss might have been a good thing for the Bulldogs, kind of to get that, okay, now we know what it feels like. Now let's go back to practice. Now let's reevaluate. Let's refocus and do this thing. I don't think Jim Harbaugh is gonna be ready for this game. I think he got his big win against Ohio State. He had to get over that. I really don't think Michigan can hang with Georgia. I still think Georgia should win by at least 10 points, but it just scares me a little bit. But we should win that game. We go over here to the other side. Herb, what's going on, man? Herb says an ugly win, but a win is a win. The one thing they can stop doing is boosting match ratings in a losing season. I don't care if he is tied with Drew Brees. I care about them winning. It's so funny, Herb, that you say that, brother. And Merry Christmas to you and your family, brother. When I saw the stat about tying Eli Manning, or either passing Eli Manning for the most touchdowns in NFL history, listen, I get it. It's a stat-driven world. When it comes to baseball and football and basketball, it's all about top 10 lists and who's here and where do you rank on here. I get all that, but I agree with you, Herb. That doesn't mean anything to me. If you get me W's, that's what matters. And 7 out of 15 W's is not going to make it, and we shouldn't overplay that. To your very, very good point. Derek, what's going on? Say he did better than DQ with limited talent. DQ had Super Bowl team and won only a handful full of games. Very good point as well, Derek. We were set up much better with Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn was set up much better than his first year, 2015. That team went 8-8. Remember the 5-0 start? We really should have done a lot more that particular year. Now, give him his due because in 2016, he went to the pinnacle, then to the top, couldn't make it over. 2017, give him credit. We went back to the playoffs. Remember, we had that streak a long time where teams that lost in the playoffs didn't make the playoffs, lost in the Super Bowl, I should say. Didn't make the playoffs the year after. The Falcons persevered, made the playoffs again. Dang near made the NFC Championship game again. So that 3-year window, Dan Quinn did what he did. But yeah, I agree with you. If this is what Arthur Smith can do with limited talent, imagine if Terry Fontenot goes out this year and goes and get that help that he needs. I think we'll see a lot better product on the field. Montoya, how are you? Merry Christmas to you and your family as well. Hope you all had a safe Christmas. My brother John Harris, what's going on, brother? Say how far our expectations have fallen. Smith has put this team together with spit and duct tape. And listen, and it's not so much that we're accepting low expectations. I get your point. We're not accepting that. I'm just saying in the base to reality that we are right now, we have, for the most part, second string players starting, a wide receiver core that on most squads would be coming off the bench, a stud tight end. And listen, I still don't regret saying every time we still should have picked the quarterback at number 4. But boy, Kyle Pitts, every week that he goes out there and gets the ball in his where he gets targeted, he validates his pick. I still think number 4 is way too high to go for a tight end, but he's at least making me think, okay, maybe he might be the exception to the rule. That catch he got on the sideline, kind of reminiscent of the Cordero Patterson catch against the Saints a couple of weeks ago when we did that in New Orleans. That young man, boy, he is the future. And if we can just get the right folks around him, he will be spoken in the same breath as the Kelseys and the Kittles going around right now. I think he's pretty awesome. Congratulations to him on his Pro Bowl selection. Him and John Harris. Not John. Is that John Harris? Is that his name? The long snapper for the Falcons. I'm sorry, folks. Long snappers don't stay in my mind. Oh, let's go down here. David, how you doing, David? Merry Christmas, brother. Talent-wise, this is an important draft for this front office. We have to come out of it with at least 3 or more starters. And not only that, David, I think it's going to be very important what we do with this roster. Somebody's not going to be here next year. And I'm going to put the names out there, and I'm not casting dispersions on any of them as individuals, but I believe out of this group, either Matt, Grady, or Dion is not going to be on this team next year. Might as well add Calvin to that list, though. That is probably a foregone conclusion. But I have a feeling one of those guys might be gone. Not because we don't like them and they're not able to fit in this. But I know a lot of people have been picking on Dion a lot lately. I would love to see Dion Jones stay in this franchise. But, boy, we have some money issues. And with Matt's huge contract and huge cap hit coming up next year, we're going to have to do some things to free up some room to get players. You can't just say, let's draft and all of those players end up making the difference. The difference, I know everybody's saying, oh, Dallas, you can do it. But you know what? Dallas already had an offense. Their quarterback was hurt. They had the offensive players in line. They already had the offensive line there. All they needed was some defense. And they're getting that defensive help this year. They could afford to go all defense in their draft. We have so many holes to fill up. You know, we got a long way to go. James, how are you, sir? Happy New Year to you, brother. Rides up from Kentucky. Lisa says, at some point in the 2022 draft, I want a running back. We need new and fresh legs for our running game. Boy, I put up a post the other day, Lisa, about Christmas list on what we need for this year. Last year, coming into the year, I think a lot of people, we said the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. We went out and got a couple of those things, but is Jalen Mayfield, is he not the right person, or is he playing out of position? 2 years ago, Marlon Davidson, is he not the right person, or I don't know. It's not like they didn't target the right positions. Maybe they just didn't target the right players. It's puzzling to me, but I seem to think that what we need is going to be more than draft picks. We got to go out there and truly get some players in free agency. I don't know how we're going to do it, but as I said before, there's going to be some people that's going to be out of here that we're not expecting this year. Derek says, chill with that quarterback talk. We needed Parsons. Parsons wouldn't have changed this whole defense. Let's keep Parsons is a beast right now in that Dallas defense. But let's not act like Trey Diggs is not there in the back. Let's not act like DeMarcus Lawrence and Randy Gregory and those guys up there in the front aren't making his job easier. He absolutely is worth it. I don't think anybody was going to draft him at number 4, but I think he's a really good player. I just don't think that was the player that we would have gotten. I think even if we didn't get Pitts, we would have got a quarterback. When you say chill with the quarterback talk, you you need a defense like this that is young, has a lot of young players. You really need an offense that'll help them out by staying on the field. Today, Detroit stayed on the field. If I'm not mistaken, let me go look at this. And I know it had to be at least 2-to-1 ratio on the field today. I'm trying to see what the team stats are. Team stats for Atlanta. Time of possession, y'all. Time of possession today. Detroit, 38 minutes, 5 seconds. Atlanta, 21 minutes, 55 seconds. Folks, when you start talking, Michael Parsons can't do anything about that. Michael Parsons is nice. I don't think that was the pick for us. My opinion, I don't think he was. But a good player. Macario says, shout out to my boy Pitts. His pace will make him unstoppable in the next 2 to 3 years, especially if we invest in a new quarterback that can extend the plays and see open players. Listen, we don't even have to get people we can't get Pickett. There's no need to draft a quarterback. Yeah, right. If Arthur Smith or Terry Fontenot or whoever the head scouting guy is, if they can get somebody that fits Arthur Smith's system, it might not be anybody in the first round, Dak Prescott. It might not be anybody in the second round, Russell Wilson. If you get the right person to fit your system, you can make it work. And then you can use that first round pick on things that we really need, like a legit pass rusher. I don't say running back. I'm hoping we can find a running back in the later rounds. But we have a lot of holes, folks. A lot. So I'd be surprised if Fowler is here next year. It would be a little bit Ray, but I'm gonna tell you what, Fowler gets there. Fowler missed a really good chance to back Detroit up. He rushed it. He has a motor, but it's almost like he's uncontrollable. He got in there one time, but basically grabbed the running back by the leg, and the running back ran out of his tackle. Yeah, for what we're paying him, even after we restructured his contract, he's really not that guy. He's really not that guy. Brother Ricky, what is going on, man? How you feeling out there? Merry Christmas to you, brother. Good to see you in the house today. James says, I really want to see Atlanta get our pass rush going again, besides Grady and Fowler every now and then. I think our pass rush is very inconsistent. James, not only is it inconsistent, it's non-existent. Today, we sacked that man nut. That man felt no pressure today. Zero. None. And I don't care if you're a second-string quarterback, third-string quarterback, scout quarterback. You can have a good day if we're not getting any pressure. Ricky says, how can we get people in free agency? Because of the salary cap. That's my point, Rick. Hopefully Terry Fontenot them will figure it out, but we got to do something. The salary cap, again, remind you, goes up $20 million this year. I don't know whether that means, I definitely don't think they're talking about restructuring Matt again. Maybe that means a restructuring of Grady, maybe Debo. I don't know. And trust me, I realize the financial ramifications we have on this team, but we got to do something. We've got to. Tron says, I think it'll be Deion Jones that'll get traded because we have to pay Fourier. And then Walker seems like he's starting to come around. I want to see him more. I also want us to get a left guard and move Mayfield to right tackle. As far as Marlon, is he hurt or something? But I'm willing to give him one more year. And I hope it's not one of those cases, Twan, where we're giving him the one more year and it turns out to be a Rashid Hagelman situation. Not personally, but I'm just saying as far as not getting that, not getting what you – that's a second-round pick, man. Second-round pick should be at average balling at times. Marlon Davidson, he made a nice play against Tom Brady that he'll have for the rest of his life. But other than that, I honestly haven't heard from that man the last 2 years. That's just the truth. Ricky said in the trenches is the weakest link of all. Yeah, Detroit won the time of possession, and they still lost even with all that time. That's a bad team over there. We beat a bad team, y'all. We beat a bad team. And that's not saying I'm forfeiting the loss. I'm taking the loss. But if you possess the ball for two out of three parts of the game, and you don't come away with the win, that means you're a bad team. Derek says you keep making excuses about the defense, but talk down the pass rushers we needed. Again, stop with the quarterback talk, especially the quarterback we drafted that was going to sit, so we wasted the number 4 pick. Well, first, I'm not making excuses about the defense, Mr. Derek. And second, when you start talking about the pass rusher we needed, yeah, dude, we've been trying to draft pass rushers for the last couple of years. See Vic Beasley, see Takaris McKinley, or I even say draft, try to get in free agency, Dante Fowler. It's not like that's. I think you're probably a little misguided in what I'm saying. I'm not telling you don't need a pass rusher. I'm not telling you our defense isn't. Our defense is living up to what we're supposed to be doing. But I also say a quarterback is where your team starts. I don't care what you talk about. You can say what you want to say. Michael Parsons on this team would not have made us 2 wins better. It was not going to make us 10-7 or anything like that. Michael Parsons is a nice player, but come on now. I think you're getting a little defensive. Plus, I didn't say anything. I'm not making excuses for anything. Matter of fact, if anything, I'm more critical about the team and what we don't do than anything else. Now, if you want to live in the world that Michael Parsons came and saved this franchise, you keep doing that. And you would have been real disappointed this year. What's going on? Dub says, what's going to happen, Steven? Until we can get a winning culture in here, you're not going to be able to trade premium free agent players in here. CP may be able to draw 1 or 2 in here while he's hot, along with Pitts and AJ. That's another question, though, Dub. Can you keep Patterson? I'm hoping Patterson looks at this as if he was able to restart his career or get more shine on his career here in Atlanta. And maybe he's able to work out some type of deal where it's friendly to the Falcons in the situation we have financially. But yeah, I mean, listen, Arthur Smith right now, the only thing he has going for him right now is if there is a free agent coming in, he said, look, man, I won 7 games and hopefully 8. I'm really not feeling that Buffalo game next week, but the Saints, I think we can do. But if we can win 7 to 8 games, the only thing I think he can sell to a free agent and say, listen, we did this with folks that you usually see on special teams. If we had you in here, we did that much better. Now, we're not going to be able to let you get that deluxe apartment in the sky like the Jeffersons, but we can at least line your pockets up with a little something for down the line. Yeah, it's going to be a hard sell for any free agent to come to Atlanta. Very hard sell. Rick says you got to have a line to keep the quarterback upright. That's evident with Fields in Chicago and Lawrence in Jacksonville. I don't care how mobile you are. If you don't have the time for plays to develop, That is what's good to have a mobile quarterback. Now, I didn't even bring up anything about mobile quarterback. Maybe y'all talking about that in the thread. But I will say this about an athletic quarterback. I hear mobile, and mobile just always screams out Mike Vick or Lamar Jackson. That's not what I want. I want a quarterback that's able to steal me some yards when it's 3rd and 1. Even though today they went with the little quarterback sneak a little more than usual with Matt, which is good. It worked 2 out of 3 times. I want a quarterback to be able to extend plays. Listen, we could talk all day about how bad the offensive line is, and they are not very good. Give them credit for bouncing back in the second half. They had an atrocious first half when they let Matt get sacked like they did early. They didn't have as bad of a second half. They got to him, I think, one time in the second half. But an athletic quarterback will extend these plays, folks. An athletic quarterback will. Chicago, as bad as they are, I think Justin Fields, I don't know. When I see him, it seems like he's pressing a whole lot. I didn't see Herbert press as much. I didn't see Matt Jones press as much, and Herbert was getting sacked a lot last year too. I watched him a lot last year. He was my fantasy quarterback last year. That's why I know. Look, the situation dictates what's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe we bring the best running athletic quarterback in here, and they might not do anything. But you never find out until you try. When I hear don't get a quarterback, then what's your solution? Is your solution to keep building this imaginary offensive line, this magical, great offensive line behind a statuesque Matt to I can't make all the throws like I used to Matt? Is that the answer? Because I think if that's the answer, you sound just as gullible as I do. So, yeah, there are still very redeeming things to say about Matt. But folks, I'm sorry, I'm done making excuses for somebody who hasn't been winning consistently over the last 4 years. I just think it's more than just the person of Matt. Dude, you can insert Ben Roethlisberger in that same sentence. People in Pittsburgh are probably sick of Ben Roethlisberger, not because he didn't do it. He did all what he did in the past. It's just like it's time for some new blood, and you can't start until you get rid of what you have now. And if you want to keep going back to, well, all we need is an offensive line. We go draft, bring people in, and it doesn't happen. Come on now. At some point, you just got to try something different. I'm just all about trying something different. That's all. No hate. Ray says, I think a lot of people look at stats and don't really pay attention to scheme. What's crazy is that Micah and Diggs are succeeding in DQ's scheme. And I'll say another thing, Ray. I think they already had nice pieces. Last year when they had that crazy bad year on defense, they had a lot of people hurt up front during various times of the year as well. And then also keep in mind, Dak, when Dak went down, I mean, let's face it, teams kind of ran roughshod over the Cowboys. Like, shoot, we ran roughshod over the Cowboys until we let them come back. I just think give DQ credit as a defensive coordinator. He was able to get those young boys in there and teach real quick, simplify things. That's the one thing I keep hearing them talk about in Dallas when they're talking about the defense. They simplified things. They made it simple to where you just go out there and make plays. I don't know what schemes they're putting Michael Parsons in, but when I see him, most of the time I see Michael Parsons, he seems like he kind of freelancing out there. And I'm sure he's not, but come on now. Michael says, pressure, pressure, pressure. Just do it. We don't have it. You're right. Twan says, let's think about this. Let's say we finish 7 and 10 and we pick 8, 9, or 10. Do we trade back, pick up some more picks, or do we take the best player again? If it's me, I'm trading back, getting another second and fourth rounder. Then we're looking at middle first round, 3 second rounds, a third, plus 2 fourth rounders. And all of that sounds great, Twan. I have no problem with the multiple pick situations. But then what happens to the guys that you drafted in 2019 and 2020? I mean, at some point, and I shouldn't even say 2019, 2020 and 2021, we have a plethora of folks here that we drafted over the last 2 years that are under very reasonable contracts. And we just have to determine, are they made for this team? Are they able to play NFL football? A lot of them haven't had a chance. I like the fact that now I'm seeing Richie Grant out there. Now I'm seeing Michael Walker out there. You got to give these guys an opportunity to get out there and play some. This year more than ever, we've gotten a chance. That's why our defense has kind of suffered, because you got a few guys that haven't been out there on the NFL field before. So it's going to be some struggling. So let's see how these guys play it out next year. That 2015 team for the Falcons, and we had some holes. We filled in 3 guys and basically turned around that whole defense with Grady, Campbell, and Neal, and actually Debo. And you turn that whole defense around. It just got to be. It has to be the right combination. Macario says we need to stop the run play. We were exposed by teams this year, especially with teams going for it on fourth down. Yeah, that fourth down run, that just took my soul when they did that earlier today. Oh, that's crazy. Twan says Parsons also wouldn't have had 14 sacks either. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's easy to say what they would have did. You know what? I bet you Detroit, I kept hearing everybody talk about Sewell today, the offensive lineman, and they said, oh boy, we would have had him here. But I'm sure Detroit, as Kyle Pitts was catching that pass going down the sideline, saying, man, I wish we were higher and we could have picked him. It just depends on what situation you put him in. Michael Parsons could have come here and wouldn't have done anything. It's a matter of how these guys play you, when you ask me. Kevin, what's going on, brother? He says, ugly win, but up here in Washington State, they leaving me alone. We were 5 and 10. Yeah, I just saw y'all lose that game to Chicago. That was an unbelievable catch dude made for the 2-point conversion up there, man. Yeah, at least we're better than Russell Wilson this year, who might be looking for a new home. Miles said, do you think 54 will be here next year? Miles, Merry Christmas to you, brother. I hope so. I hope he does. He's probably pretty much the only person that I would say you really need to go out and look for. John says, after seeing that throw and catch, I can't help but to reminisce about Julio and wanting him to go get a throw like that. Yeah. What's going on, Dre? How you doing? Antonio Watkins, how you doing, my brother? Some Merry Christmas to you, too. Hey, with your GM hat on, what position or positions would you address first? Rise up, Shardy. I'm at a point right now, Antonio. There is something that bothered me today, that we couldn't get to a second round quarterback, that we could get no pressure. There is nothing about Detroit's offense or their offensive line. I don't care what one rookie doesn't change the whole mindset of the offensive line. We did not give him any pressure today. I wish we had an opportunity. I almost wish we had 2 picks. I still say we need a very stud defensive end that can go in there. Not so much a linebacker, but a defensive end that his sole purpose in life is to wreak havoc on the quarterback. I think we just haven't had one in a while. Sans the blip year in 2016 with Beasley. We really need that. We really need that. Ryan, how you doing, sir? Merry Christmas to you. Well, take this win. Our playoff chances aren't dead yet. Yeah, and I was funny you were saying that because I was looking over here and I'm just gonna just for the moment and look, I don't want anybody to take this as I'm sitting here telling you we are gonna make it, and it's um it's a foregone conclusion that we're gonna run off these 3 games and win. We go to Buffalo next week. As we stand right now, the Falcons are number 10. Now, at number 11 is Washington. And if you're playing this game of playoffs, you want Dallas to win. Dallas has already clinched their playoff position, so who cares? Let them win the rest of the season. So you want Washington to win you want Dallas to win because if Washington wins, that pushes Atlanta back down to 11th. Everybody else is eliminated. So we're at the very end. Now, Buffalo has a lot to play for. If I scan this up real quick, Buffalo is 9-6, and they need to win those last 2 games. Buffalo plays us and the Jets. So Buffalo is going to be fired up. So next week is realistically, if you're thinking long-term or extended, if you're thinking like that, and if you're a Falcon fan, you should think that way. You should always think to try to do the best, in my opinion. I'm never, listen, if you're going to have a defeatist attitude about us trying to make the playoffs, then again, I don't know what to tell you. I can't stop you thinking. Now, if we lose like next week to Buffalo, which is probably a good chance, hey, we'll say we lost. But for right now, we still mathematically are in. You're looking at Minnesota right now above us. The New Orleans, I wouldn't pay that any attention because you have them head to head and you would be able to take care of that business. But the 2 teams that you are at 6 and 7, those are your bugaboos. If either one of those teams win 1 game, matter of fact, if both of them win next week, then you're out because there's no way you can tie them. You have to be 1 game over San Francisco and 1 game over Philadelphia because both of those teams beat you head to head. So that's just a quick synopsis of what we have going on. Again, not trying to build up any false hope, but also wanting people to realize, hey, those are your chances. What's up, Sidereus? How you doing, man? Merry Christmas to you, brother. Glad to see you in the house. Coming back over here. Ryan says Parsons could be another Vic Beasley. That could absolutely be true. Absolutely, it could. Ricky says, and if folks think that we're ready for a playoff run, that's some strong drugs that they are consuming. Now, my only thing is, Rick, I'm not filling you up with delusions of grandeur either. I'm not feeling the playoffs. You know what I'm feeling? I'm feeling learning how to win. We talk about it every year at preseason. We sleepwalk through those preseason games, and then the last few years, we haven't won any, and then we start the season and don't win. These guys don't know how to win. Some of these young guys now are learning what it takes to win, learning that you can't quit on the play, learning that every play counts, learning that you have to hold on to the ball, learning how to do things that lead to winning. So when I hear folks go to the tanking method and things of that nature, I'm like, why would grown men who are trying to tackle each other quit and not play or play half speed? That's how you get hurt. It's a ridiculous premise to me, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's bleak, but while there's a chance, you gotta look for some kind of motivation. what's the thing? In the Last Dance with Michael Jordan, and he kept saying, things that motivated him. Sometimes you gotta find things to motivate you. Rick, how are you, sir? When we need to get rid of Debo and free up some cap money for Patterson, that wouldn't be a bad idea. Ricky says an athletic quarterback is what we need. The days of the pocket passer is gone. Man, Ben Roethlisberger looked like a stone statue today, and it's obvious this is his last year. And what you don't want, Rick, is you don't want to go out like that. Bit being from a professional on the field standpoint, deserves to go out better than that, because he did some great things early on and for the most part of his run with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I hate professionally that he would go out like that. Kind of a little bit of a scumbag off the field, but that's for another time and another show. Dominique, what's going on? I know we drafted Frank Darby, but I couldn't understand why he doesn't get any offensive playing time, even though Sharp didn't play. Do you think he should be involved in this offense? And Dominique, I'm trying to tell you, it's something. When I heard that Sharp wasn't going to get an opportunity, the first thing I thought is, okay, well, finally Darby's going to get a chance to do something. I don't know. This is very similar to the Ollison situation when he was first coming up. But then I also remember, Darby's a 6th round pick. Maybe he's not catching the playbook. Maybe there are things he's doing in practice that lets them say, I don't know if we can trust you yet. I don't get it. But I tell you what, he's a long way from that little happy-go-lucky video that all of us were going crazy about, and that one-handed catch he did in shorts and T-shirts in summer camp when I was trying to explain to people, don't always believe what you see without pads on. But there has to be something. I do not know. I wish I knew the answer to that. But it would be nice to see him out on the field, but it's got to be a reason. Ricky says it's time for Matt to move on, trade him to Denver or possibly Seattle, because I believe Wilson is out. That would be an interesting situation if Seattle would look for him. Benjamin says, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you, sir. What do you believe is the greatest challenge for the next 3-year roadmap? The greatest challenge is being able to balance financially a competitive team and a regrouping division. So if that didn't make sense, let me break it down for you a little bit more. We are in a division right now, and I'm just looking small first, because you win a division, you go to the playoffs, plain and simple. Right now, we are in a division where Carolina is flipping quarterbacks, New Orleans is flipping quarterbacks. We should be flipping quarterbacks. And Tampa Bay, I don't care what people tell you, Tom Brady is not going to play more than 2 more years. We have an opportunity now in this next 3-year span that you speak of to take strides towards being a consistent player in this division. So if you ask me, the biggest challenge right now is to set up your team to win the division. And right now, we're not set up to win the division. We can't, we have to get over. I think this year was kind of a little good for the New Orleans thing. We got over a little bit of bugaboo for New Orleans. Carolina, I'm surprised we didn't sweep them. We should have. And Tampa Bay, until Captain America leaves, I think that's their division. But I don't think Captain America is going to play more than 2 more years. I think it wouldn't shock me if 2022 is his last year. I really think that. Clayton says, can we talk about the timeouts? Oh, my God. So I'm sitting up there, Clayton, and have Merry Christmas to you, bro. So I'm sitting up there, and I'm watching Detroit come down the field, and I see that one timeout that they have. And I'm saying to myself, they get the one little pass, and I'm looking at the clock. The clock is ticking down. I said, okay, all right, good, because they can't afford to really use that timeout. I was like, all right, keep it going. Then all of a sudden, I see the time. I see the time stop. I said, oh, great. They used their timeout. Timeout, Atlanta. Now, I had to go back and look and see where they were on the field. Because if Detroit was inside the 10, I would get it. Because if you're inside the 10 and Detroit maybe has two plays, leaves you about 30 seconds, maybe to do something on the other end. But Lord, what was he doing? When he called that timeout, I was like, huh? And I'm not advocating for the enemy being Detroit this week, but I also should scratch my head on Dan Campbell's decision to go for a field goal with when they were inside, they inside the 20? I thought that was a weird decision because it was under 3 minutes left. Dude, you got to go for a touchdown on that. So now I see why they are 2-11 or 2-12 or whatever they are. But yeah, just very not smart decisions. I hear you loud and clear. I hear you loud and clear on that. And what's going on, man? Say, yeah, just like Vic Beasley, Parsons is forced to play coverage when his strongest attributes are as a pass rusher. Absolutely. I think Parsons is a very good pass rusher. With no doubt. Clayton says, why tank? Because playoffs equals more money for the right present and future player. Morno, or however you want to spell it on the other side of AJ, needs to go or train better. Yeah, I've never been a proponent of tanking. I got into it with somebody last week about the virtues of tanking in the NFL. It's not the same game. It's not the same as basketball. It's not the same as baseball. Especially basketball is probably the closest thing when you start talking about teams, quote unquote, taking, because you can basically put 5 inexperienced guys out there on a basketball court against real professionals and veterans, and it will show. Baseball, kind of the same thing. The Braves actually did that about 4 years ago when they brought out Acuna and Albies. Remember the year that they wanted to bring Acuna in and cut off his time so he could still be a free agent for the next year and all of that jazz when they did that. You could easily do that in baseball. In football, you're talking about people running full speed and going at each other, and you're supposed to go half speed because you don't want to win so you can get a draft pick. That doesn't happen. Detroit did not look like they were trying to secure the number 1 draft pick today. Detroit looked like they were out there coming to win. And that's what you need to do. Come to win. Anthony, what's going on again, Anthony? I don't believe in tanking, but this team is too wishy-washy for playoffs. We will see what happens after Buffalo. But if I had to guess, we should go ahead and prepare for sweeping the Saints and getting our big board together and preparing for the offseason. And yeah, Anthony, I'm not here to try to do any wizardry and try to pretend like, judging how they played today, they should be tough against Buffalo. Buffalo is in a whole different Buffalo knows if they can get to the playoffs, they can truly make a run to the Super Bowl with that team. They've been inconsistent, but we've also seen that same personnel group go to the AFC Championship game. So Buffalo is going to be playing on all cylinders up there. I'm sure the weather will be cold. I don't know whether the snow will be down, but I'm not sure how we'll build for that. But we'll see. Rick, this DC keep putting defense in zone because we need corners bad other than AJ. I've come to that conclusion, Rick. Yeah, because we don't have another corner that can play man. I think they have to play those little annoying zones where you turn around and you just see the guy standing in there with nobody within 3 yards of him when he catches the ball. He has an opportunity to get some yak after they run. That's just so irritating to me. But I think that's because of the personnel we have. I don't think that's a total indictment on Dean Pease as a defensive coach. He said it earlier this year. He is paraphrasing. He's playing with the cards he's dealt. You can't get a. You can't get a. You can't be at a blind 10 if you have no spades and no trumps or no aces. You can't do it. So that's what he's dealing with right now. Twan says, with the timeout, I heard ATL was trying to switch players out. But hey, the Lions paid us back. They just wanted to give us a run for our money. They didn't want to win. I think deep down inside, I don't think they really wanted to win either. But their players did. Their players played hard and did what they had to do. Sideria says, these guys are auditioning for a job moving forward. Why would you tank for a draft pick? If anything, you should be worried about your own job. That's something that I don't think a lot of people understand, that all those folks who are on one-year deals, not just Cordero, when you talk about Aaron Harris, who got hurt, you talk about Isaiah Oliver, who got hurt early. Folks are playing for their livelihoods, man. They're not trying to just play out the string. They're trying to win. I mean, Mike Davis, say what you want to say. I know he has a 2-year contract, but I think that second year is they can cut him and not really pay a hefty fee for that. So we got to look at things like that. Shamari says, Orchard Park is a cold, wild as atmosphere, and the stadium, that game is going to be tough. Look, I used to be a huge Bills fan. Of course, not with the Falcons, but a huge fan of theirs when the Jim Kelly, listen to me, the Jim Kelly era was going on. And I used to remember always in December and January, nobody wanted to go to Buffalo, but Buffalo was always there because they were just dominating the AFC. And you would always see the championship games. I think except 1 year. I think 1 year they made it as a wild card team. But other than that, yeah, nobody wants to go there for that. Dub J says Dean Pease is too conservative. And I think, again, Dub, I think it might be reflected on the players he has. Maybe he doesn't have a choice but to be conservative. If he had a defense that could take some risk, we were talking about Dallas. Dallas has some really good pass rushers now. And then add Parsons to the mix, they can take some chances. I think Tyler Heineke is going to be in trouble tonight, especially knowing that Dallas is trying to shoot for a number 1 seed. They're going to go for it. And I think if we had folks like that on our team, I think we could take some chances. I just don't think we can take chances like that. All right. Fred, what's going on? Fred says, Merry Christmas, Steve. Merry Christmas to you too, sir. Hopefully they can re-sign CP and Aluakon. I'm telling you, I think that Aluakon signing, that's the one that's going to make them sweat, because I think Aluakon will be one of those guys that will turn around. If he left Atlanta, he will be a monster if he went somewhere else. Absolute monster. So I don't think you can let him get away. But it'll be interesting to see what his price tag will be. He has a lot of tackles too. And last I checked, I know he was number 2 in tackles, which could speak good or bad. But yeah, and then doing things like he did today, sealing the game, doesn't do anything but push his number up a little bit, if you ask me. Really hope we don't make the playoffs, because we will get our butts kicked like the Dallas game. Yeah, listen though, it's not about making the playoffs. Look, when you're in the playoffs, your goal is to win. I think what you want to do to a already fragile fan base is to show them that you have every intention on trying to win. This is the first home win we've had this year. They want to show the fan base that they're trying to win. I think too many times this year we've been falling short. We haven't done anything. We haven't given the fan base anything to look forward to. And yes, is it unrealistic to say we'll make the playoffs this year? A little, but that doesn't mean you're not eliminated. And if you're not eliminated, you go out and try to play the game. Buffalo stomps us in the ground. They stomp us in the ground, and then we move on to 2022. But until then, you don't quit because you just think the other team is supposed to beat you. You go out there and play. Look at the Chargers today. Chargers went into Houston and probably should have beat them. I don't even know what the point spread was, but I'm pretty sure it was more than 7. And Houston handled them. So just because you're Houston and you're a bad team and whatever, that doesn't mean you don't stop playing. And I bet you to a man, if you go in that locker room, a lot of them aren't like that. Tidy, what's going on, brother? Says Falcons could cut Mike Davis next year, pre-June, and it's a 1-year dead cap hit of $250,000 Mixby. And cap savings of 2.5, safe to say he won't be here. Exactly. So you see what you come out much better making that move, that cut. And I'm telling you, Mike Davis, Man of the Year, congratulations. They mentioned it today again, nomination for Man of the Year, but he's Atlanta Falcons Man of the Year, and he's nominated for the NFL award. But yeah, bless his heart. I'm glad he came to Atlanta, and I'm glad he showed that he wanted to come here. Again, seems like a nice guy, but right now I need more than nice guys. I need somebody who can give me some yards. I need somebody who can hit the holes. I need somebody who can play some ball. And right now he's not. If we were in a point where we needed a backup, like if we had a Freeman and Coleman and he was on the block, yeah, maybe I'll bring him in. But we can't afford to take him. We can't afford to keep him next year. We can't. We have way too many moves that we could make. Too many other free agent running backs who come in and do what he's done. And I go over here and look. Y'all don't believe me. Let me share it with you. The box score. Bring it up for you. Box score today. Atlanta rushing. Y'all see it. Mike Davis, 7 yards, 7 carries, 28 yards. And for you smart Alex out there, yeah, 4 yards a carry. But bruh, we didn't bring you. You can't be a running back 1 and give me just 28 yards. You can't do it. I'm sorry. And yes, Patterson gets a pass because he's been scoring touchdowns. But you can't do it, y'all. Look at that. Look at Detroit. Look at Boyle. 24 for 34, 187 yards. And yeah, he was dinking and dunking, but until that interception, he was actually doing a pretty good management job. Take that down out here. Lynn, how you doing, Lynn? Lynn says, Steve, it had to feel good walking out with a win for a change. Love my team regardless of the outcome. Lynn, I always love my Falcons. And yes, it felt good, even though they tried to elevate my blood pressure just a little bit on that fumble by Gage. And you know, to have end of game awareness, we can say that now because we won the game. Gage has got to know it's 2 things you want to do. 1, make the first down, but 2, hold on to the ball. Because even had he gone down and didn't get the first down, they still would have had to call a timeout. And, you know, we could have punted the ball and pushed him back a little bit. But boy, oh boy, yeah, he scared me when he did that. when he dropped that ball. But you know what? We won the game, so we'll go back and finish that and look at it on tape and do what we have to do because that could have been real ugly uh, when it's all said and done. What I'm going to do, we're going to have a couple of lists this week, and I'm going to come out with. I'm going to put a couple of them here in the Atlanta Bird game, then a couple of them I'm going to put on my YouTube page, which is Uncle Steve's Lounge. But look forward to that tomorrow, and then probably on at least Wednesday. But I'll be on tomorrow during the evening, probably either 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Hopefully, I'll post it by then, and then we could talk about those couple of end of year lists that the Falcons have compiled this year. There are a lot of lists are not very pretty, but at the same time, it is what it is for 2021. But overall, excuse me. But overall, best the result is the Atlanta Falcons win 20-16. We are 7-8. We are hanging on by a thread for chances at the playoffs this year. More importantly, just to keep playing good ball. We have a huge task next week going up to Buffalo to a hungry Bills team who is fighting for the AFC East division. So got our work cut out for us. Let's see what we got. Everyone be real safe out there. Again, we all talk about this COVID thing and stuff. This stuff is real as far as how much this one is spreading more than the other ones. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. And I'll catch y'all in here tomorrow. Peace. And again, if I didn't tell you, Merry Christmas.